You're probably looking at Grok 4.20 and GPT 5.4 and thinking they're basically the same thing. Two frontier models, two massive context windows, two companies screaming, "We're the best." But after spending serious time inside both ecosystems, digging through the developer docs, the system cards, the third-party benchmarks, and actually building with these models, I found something most comparisons won't tell you. These two models aren't even trying to solve the same problem. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly where each model wins, where each one falls short, and more importantly, which one you should actually be using based on what you're building. Whether you're a developer choosing your next API backbone, or someone trying to figure out if the upgrade is worth it, by the end of this, you'll know exactly which model fits your workflow. And the first difference we need to talk about is the one everyone gets wrong. The naming confusion nobody addresses. Before we even get into specs, let's clear up something that trips people up constantly. When people say ChatGPT 5.4, that's not actually the model name. OpenAI calls the underlying model GPT 5.4, and there's also GPT 5.4 thinking, which comes with its own full system card and separate reasoning capabilities. ChatGPT is the product, GPT 5.4 is the engine. It matters because when you're comparing API capabilities, pricing, and benchmarks, you need to know which layer you're actually talking about. On the other side, Grok 4.20 is the model name, and there's also Grok 4.20 Multi-Agent, which is a separate variant designed for orchestrating parallel research tasks. So just keep that distinction in your head as we go through this. Product versus model, single agent versus multi-agent. The Spec Showdown, context, modalities, and training cutoff. Now let's get into what you can actually verify from first-party documentation, because this is where a lot of YouTube comparisons fall apart. They mix up marketing claims with documented specs. Context window is the headline number everyone wants to compare. Grok 4.20 comes in at 2 million tokens. That's not a typo. 2 million? If you're working with massive code bases, research dossiers, or trying to ingest entire document libraries in a single prompt, that number is genuinely significant. GPT 5.4 sits at roughly 1.05 million tokens, still massive by any reasonable standard. And OpenAI explicitly positions it for long-horizon agent tasks, where the model needs to maintain context across extended tool use sessions. But here's where it gets interesting. Context window size alone doesn't tell you how well the model actually uses that context. And that's something neither company fully discloses with standardized benchmarks. On Modalities, GPT 5.4, the model supports text and image input, but does not support audio or video directly. If you need those on OpenAI's platform, you're using separate endpoints and separate models. xAI's platform is broader in a different way. They've shipped voice agent APIs, text-to-speech, and even video generation, as of January 2026, but those are generally separate endpoints or models from the base Grok 4.20 text model. So both ecosystems offer multimodal capabilities, just not all through the flagship model itself. And training cutoff, this one's a bit awkward. GPT 5.4 clearly states August 31st, 2025. For Grok, the xAI docs say the Grok 3 and Grok 4 family has a November 2024 cutoff, but Grok 4.20 specifically doesn't get its own cutoff date in the static documentation. So treat it as unspecified until you confirm it in your own environment. This agents and tool use, the biggest philosophical split. This is the section that should actually drive your decision, because the models have taken fundamentally different approaches to the same problem. And depending on what you're building, one approach is going to save you a lot of pain. GPT 5.4 introduces something called tool search. Instead of cramming tens of thousands of tokens worth of tool definitions into every single prompt, which is what most people do with MCP tool ecosystems, the model can search and load only the tool definitions it actually needs for a given request. OpenAI claims this preserved cache hits and cut token usage by 47% on their MCP Atlas benchmark test without sacrificing accuracy. If you're building on a large MCP stack with dozens of connectors, that's a real architectural advantage because it means your prompt doesn't bloat, your cache stays warm, and your costs stay predictable. Now wait until you see how Grok 4.20 handles the same challenge because it's a completely different philosophy. Instead of optimizing how a single model picks its tools, XAI built a multi-agent research system. Multiple sub-agents run in parallel, each one potentially using different tools. And a leader agent synthesizes everything into a final response. And here's the nuance that caught my attention. The intermediate sub-agent state, including all the tool calls, outputs, and reasoning those sub-agents produce, is encrypted by default. It's not returned unless you explicitly enable it through the SDK. That's a meaningful design choice for enterprise workflows, where you care about what intermediate data is exposed. So the mental model is this. GPT-5.4 says, let me be smarter about picking which tools to use. Grok 4.20 says, let me throw multiple agents at the problem simultaneously. Both approaches are valid, but they optimize for different bottlenecks. If you've been watching OpenClaw demos and thinking, I need this, automating your emails, your calendar, your browser, all through WhatsApp or Telegram, but you don't have a spare Mac Mini to leave running or the DevOps skills to self-host it, this one's for you. Inclaw AI is a fully managed hosting platform built specifically for OpenClaw. You sign up, and within minutes, you have a live OpenClaw instance running, fully configured, always online, automatically updated. No terminal, no servers, no API keys to juggle. Here's the part I like. Every plan includes a monthly token allowance, between $40 and $80 worth of AI model credits bundled in. So you're not paying for hosting over here and then getting hit with a separate API bill from OpenAI or Anthropic over there. One subscription, predictable cost, done. Pricing starts at $29.99 a month for Lite. Pro at $49.99 is the sweet spot. $60 in tokens plus priority support. And if you need more headroom, Max is $79.99. Go annual and you save about 30%. For comparison, the official OpenClaw Cloud charges $59 a month with no bundled tokens. Inclaw AI's Pro plan comes in cheaper and includes the credits. If you've been on the sidelines with OpenClaw because the setup felt like too much, check out Inclaw AI. Links in the description. Use it, play with it, let me know what you think. Alright, back to the video. Hallucinations and factuality, the numbers behind the claims. Everyone cares about reliability, but here's the problem. The two companies aren't even measuring the same thing, which makes direct comparisons trickier than most people realize. OpenAI makes a very specific quantified claim for GPT-5.4. Compared to GPT-5.2, individual factual claims are 33% less likely to be false, and full responses are 18% less likely to contain any errors. That's based on de-identified prompts where real users flagged factual issues. It's a meaningful methodology because it's grounded in actual user experience, not synthetic benchmarks. XAI takes a different approach. Their developer docs claim Grok 4.20 has the lowest hallucination rate on the market, but the docs page doesn't actually publish a number to back that up. What we do have is independent reporting from Artificial Analysis, which found Grok 4.20 hit a 78% non-hallucination rate on their omniscience benchmark. But here's what that actually means. It's measuring something subtly different. A high non-hallucination rate often means the model refuses to answer or admits uncertainty rather than guessing. That's a legitimate strategy, but it's not the same as saying every answer it gives is correct. This next part is important for how you think about reliability. These are genuinely different philosophies. OpenAI is optimizing for when we do answer, we're more accurate. XAI's approach, at least as reflected in third-party testing, leans toward we'd rather not answer than answer wrong. Neither is objectively better. It depends entirely on your use case. If you're building a customer-facing chatbot, you probably want fewer wrong answers, even if that means more "I don't know" responses. If you're building a research assistant, you might prefer a model that takes more swings, even at the cost of occasional errors. Coding, benchmarks, and what the numbers actually tell you. For developers, this section matters. But I want to set the right expectation first. We have a significant asymmetry in publicly available data here. OpenAI published a full scorecard for GPT-5.4 on swe-bench Pro Public, which measures real-world software engineering tasks. GPT-5.4 hit 57.7%. On OS World Verified, which is a computer use benchmark where the model has to actually operate software, it scored 75%. On BrowseComp, their web browsing persistence benchmark, GPT-5.4 hit 82.7%. And GPT-5.4 Pro pushed that to 89.3%. On GPQA Diamond, a graduate-level STEM question-answering benchmark, it scored 92.8%. For Grok 4.20, we don't have equivalent first-party benchmark scores in the XAI developer documentation. No swe-bench, no MMLU, no human eval scorecard published directly by XAI. So the comparison has to rely on third-party composites. Artificial analysis puts GPT-5.4x high at an intelligence index of 57 and Grok 4.20 at 49. That's a meaningful gap on a composite metric, but composite metrics compress a lot of nuance into a single number, and Grok 4.20's strength might show up more in throughput-heavy, long-context workloads that composites don't weight heavily. The honest takeaway: if published benchmark transparency matters to your evaluation process, GPT 5.4 gives you substantially more first-party data to work with. If you're evaluating purely on your own internal benchmarks, which you should be anyway, the gap might narrow or shift depending on your specific task profile. Pricing, deployment, and enterprise controls. Pricing is where things get pragmatic. OpenAI publishes detailed per-token pricing for GPT 5.4, including separate rates for cached input tokens, different service tiers like standard, flex, and priority, and even notes that regional processing endpoints carry a 10% uplift. They also flag that very long prompts approaching the 1.05 million context limit have special pricing multipliers. What you see is what you pay. For XAI, the pricing situation is less straightforward from documentation alone. The main model pricing table on their docs page appeared to load dynamically in the captured static text, which means per-token rates for Grok 4.20 need to be verified in console. Third-party sources widely report approximately $2 per million input tokens and $6 per million output tokens for Grok 4.20 reasoning variants. If that holds, it's competitive. Potentially cheaper than GPT 5.4's frontier pricing, depending on your input-output ratio and caching patterns. On deployment and security, both platforms have matured significantly. XAI supports regional endpoints where requests can be pinned to a specific region and offers MTLS availability. They also have Enterprise Vault with dedicated data planes and customer-managed encryption keys. Grok 4.20 shows up in partner clouds like Google Cloud Vertex AI and Oracle OCI. OpenAI offers data residency and inference residency for eligible ChatGPT Enterprise and eDO customers, plus availability through Azure. Both are enterprise-ready, but the specific compliance certifications and controls you need will determine which one clears your procurement process faster. So which one should you actually use? Here's the practical decision framework based on everything we've covered. Go with GPT 5.4. If your primary workload involves building general-purpose agents that need to operate software end-to-end, computer use, web browsing, tool orchestration across a large connector ecosystem. If safety documentation depth and governance transparency are key to your procurement process, GPT 5.4 has the most extensive first-party evaluation disclosure with a full system card and detailed safety evaluations. And if you want a single flagship model that blends coding, long context reasoning, and tool use into one coherent package with published performance baselines, this is the safer default. Go with Grok 4.20 if your dominant constraint is extremely large context ingestion, entire codebases, massive research threads, giant document piles, and you need to run tool-heavy research patterns across all of that simultaneously. If you're running repeated large prefix prompts, XAI's emphasis on conversation-based prompt caching can materially reduce cost and latency in multi-turn systems. And if your workflow is fundamentally ingest everything, research with tools, synthesize a result, the multi-agent architecture is structurally designed for exactly that. Here's the reality. Grok 4.20 and GPT 5.4 are converging on the same future: agents that browse, run tools, and produce real work. They're just optimizing different parts of the equation. Context depth versus tooling intelligence versus reliability transparency. Neither one is universally better. They're better at different things. If you found this useful, drop your actual use case in the comments. Codebase size, tool count, latency requirements, and I'll tell you which model I'd pick and how I'd set it up. If you want to see me run the same real-world task through both models with identical tool setups, hit that subscribe button because that follow-up is coming. Until next time.